Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experience, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Joe Obamani, the general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it. Okay, well, welcome back to the podcast. Today we have two very special guests, Steve Vansak from Region Weddings and Jaime Del Rio from TimeShots. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So it's July. We're about halfway through wedding season, which is great, but it's about to get real busy, I think, for the fall. So far, what are some things that you feel like, has there been a theme this year? What are some lessons that you've learned or picked up? And then kind of going forward, what are some things that you're going to take going forward into 2026?
Who wants this first?
Let's just be honest. I already said I was nervous before we started, so you go for
All
it.
right, I got the ball. I'm going to run with it. Obviously the heat this year is big. I started my season in March, so I'm calling this halftime. We talked about, hey, what are we going to talk about since this was my second visit? And it's like, man, it feels like halftime because it's July 30th, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then July 18th was the last wedding I shot. So I was off last weekend, and I hadn't been off in a while. So I was like, wow, this feels like the halfway point. And yeah, I did a lot of summer weddings here in the heat, outside, and that has its challenges for the clients and the photos, and I deliver them as a wet rag to you guys, the DJs. Here you go, here they are. I've worn them out.
Do you guys get like moisture on the lenses? Is that a thing? Like with the heat, with the moisture, with the humidity, does that affect the gear? Does that affect the shots?
Yeah, I remember a wedding at County Line Orchard, but the way it affects it is if you're in a very air-conditioned room, say for getting ready.
Yes.
I've had to tell the girls, we're going to hang out and talk here for 10 minutes because my lenses are totally fogged.
Oh, wow.
Because I was with them, I remember, in County Line, this is a few years ago, and it was, I didn't even realize it was happening, and I'm shooting all that, and then boom, we were outside with the girls, and then we were going to get the guys, and then we were going to have our first look, and yada yada. And yeah, I couldn't shoot for about 10 minutes, and they went inside, and I actually had someone else go retrieve the men to come back out and do photos with me. They were doing it separately because of that, because I was like, I don't want to walk inside, fog up, and then delay this again. I didn't see that this year, maybe because AC couldn't keep up in the buildings. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it does affect things on occasion.
And sometimes too, even if you get the lens cloth and you give it the wipe and you're hoping you're ready to rock and roll, the lens is already at that cold temperature, so that just comes right back.
Oh,
so you wipe it off, and then you adjust your settings, and you're ready to go, and it's just back again. So it might take a little bit for it to.
I was thinking about that. I've had it in that halfway point, and I've got some pretty cool shots. A lot of times we will shoot because we're artists, right? Artists. Sometimes we'll shoot with foreground elements in the shot. You might duck behind a leaf in the fall and give it that brown tone just off to the left, and then the couple's like in the corner or whatever, or in the sliver of that. I've had lenses fog up where one portion of the frame is not fogged up, and that's where I put them. And so you can use it to your advantage, but obviously you're doing a group photo with everybody in frame, it's not going to work, which was what I was doing at the time. I think we had like 20 girls or something like that, and I don't think the two girls on the end are going to want to be, like little ghosts on the side. Probably not a good look.
Yeah, those are the scenarios where I live by and work by the motto of work with what you got. Like if this was what you got, make it happen. So if the lens is not cooperating, you still got to make something happen.
Yeah, so a lot of heat. Even though I started I'll just kind of recount my season for a little bit. I had March 1st is when I started. Usually March is pretty quiet, but I was very busy in March. Started in Chicago, a winter wedding, and I think they might have been thinking March was spring, but we're in the Midwest, and it doesn't work like that. And March 1st was brutally cold, and we were going all around the city. But, of course, I loved it anyway because it's a good one. The father of the bride drove us around all around Chicago, and we just hopped out and did photos and hopped out this spot, that spot. So it was nice. He was a great guy, and they were from out of town, even though the couple lived in Chicago. He was from like Arizona, so he got plopped in the middle of Chicago in March in the freezing cold, driving his daughter around, and yeah, so it went from that, and then another wedding in March was at Journeyman. I got my Journeyman T-shirt today out here in Valpo, and that was a little bit chilly. And then I had a warm one in March, and then boom! It seemed like at some point the furnace turned on, and we're in the thick of it in the summer right now. And you and I are working together
this weekend,
this Saturday.
Yeah. Which that's going to be. I think it's going to be another scorcher. I got to double check the weather, but I think it's going to be another thick, hot one. Yeah.
Yeah. Golf course wedding at Idlewild.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet and start working together?
Oh, that's a story. I'll take the beginning half of that, and then he could take it for the rest of the way. So I was at a bridal expo, and that in itself is a whole nother story for the very seasoned, experienced people in our wedding industry. They'll know it when we mention the name, but we're not going to. So anyways, we were part of a bridal expo, and this crap show of an experience is how we met each other. And one of the things that grabbed my eye was some of the HDR work that Steve was doing back then. And he had this awesome metal print with an HDR image on there. And I remember walking by his booth and thinking, that's the same thing I saw online. Well, obviously it was his shot. So I just approached him, and I went up to him, hey, my name's Jaime Del Rio, blah, blah, blah. And you're amazing. And then that was it. We just started talking.
I'm much more reserved than he is. And I was like, whoa, who's this guy?
And then,
you meet people who do what you do in the industry, and you don't know if you're going to work with them or who they are. And then just, I think it was a few years later, I was shooting at the time with very small gear, and he had heard that I was one of the photographers, not to get too deep in the weeds, but pretty much we all shoot with what's called mirrorless cameras now, as opposed to DSLRs. So I was sort of ahead of the curve, and I always embraced tech. And so I went all in on it very early on the mirrorless equipment, which was smaller and lighter. And he called me up one day and he said, I hear you're shooting with this gear. And he just called me out of the blue. And we just started talking. We got friendly competitors, which is the best thing, because I know a lot of photographers in the area. And once you know people and you can trust them, you can refer the clients to them, you feel comfortable doing that. And so that's where we met. And now we have our separate businesses, but now both of us, we like tech. We like new things in the wedding industry. We embrace them. And I think what was it like in 2020, hybrid coverage became a thing. Mm-hmm. So him and I both embraced that, started doing hybrid coverage. And if you need an explanation for that, it's basically we do photography throughout the day like we always have, but with our equipment now, we can easily flip to video. So it's more of a raw video where you're doing handheld, and at the end of the day, you have quite a few clips, and you can combine that together and give the client video representation of their day that's maybe not what a video team would deliver, but maybe they want some video, but they don't want the, I would say the extravaganza of a team or the spotlight of a team on them. And it's not going to replace a videographer, but it's for those people who are maybe a little bit shy with video, but they want some of it of the day. And so we both embraced that. And then Jaime went very, very deep in the video and learned even more than I did about it. And so now for the folks who want full videography, Region Weddings is now offering that. And I do recommend video teams, but some people are like, we want it from that one company. Yeah. We trust you, we like you, and we want that. And it's like, well, on my own, I can do the hybrid coverage, but I can't give you a video team. I would be, I wouldn't be honest if I tried to do that. I would give you maybe mediocre quality in both. So I wanted to do great quality. So I told him, hey, why don't you do video for me when the folks want just, from video from the one company. They want the team from the one spot. And for those who want it, he comes on board if he's open. And if not, then I recommend folks like our mutual friend Mason, Raycroft Recordings, and other videographers in the area. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much, wow, that was really good. That was a really good box around how we met. And back when we met, just to put a little cherry on top of that, because Steve's a super humble guy. He's never going to really tell you, like, I did this, I did it. So what happened was, the system that he was shooting was a Micro Four Thirds system. And I know that's super techie, we're about to get techie, but so in the camera world, there's different size sensors. To make a long story short, this guy was shooting the smallest sensor that people would even attempt professionally. Anyhow, for the wedding world. So long story short, I fell in love with this camera, and I was going to take the plunge and sell all my gear to jump into the Micro Four Thirds world, but I was aware that people frown upon this. You need to know what you're doing. So picked his brain. When I got the camera, sat down with me, set it all up with me, ran through. I think we were at Panera Bread for like 2 hours. And then did all of the phone calls where I'm like, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? And long story short, it just led to lots of reasons to get to know each other. There was a lot of excuses for conversations, and that's really where someone's personality, you really get to feel how are they moving through struggle? How are they moving through this? How are you acting when I'm annoying you? So that's really around the time when I knew, okay, this is going to be somebody I'm going to keep around. I'm going to be working with Steve a lot.
Yes.
And here we are now. I'm on my first podcast ever. Yeah.
Well, I love that. You guys become colleagues and good friends and partners in the industry. And to me, I love that when you meet somebody who ignites your passion for this work, but also like excites you in a way that you're like, yes, more of this. And there's that I have strengths where this person doesn't, and they have an interest, and you help develop each other. I've developed that as well with some local DJs, and it's so fun. We get together, we talk shop, we talk gear, and it elevates everybody's game. It helps everybody. This Friday, I'm working at Journeyman, and Joe Christian from Rested Sounds is assisting me. And then I'll be assisting him later in August, I believe at Sandy Pines. But we try to do that once a year so that he gets to like shadow and see how I'm working and ask questions, but from his own perspective. Why did you do it that way? Is there a way you can improve on this? And he also adds value. He's going to bring his camera. He's going to take a bunch of photos. It's really cool. It's really fun. And I'm so glad that you guys have developed that friendship. It does feel that early on in weddings and working, you're always viewing everybody as the competition, and I don't want to give away my secrets, and I don't want people copying off my systems and stealing my gear ideas and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really want to share this little tidbit because I thought of it twice while Steve was talking, and again right now while you're talking. Have you ever heard of the phrase, rising tides raise all ships?
Yes.
Why can't we see more of that? Like, where is that? And that was one of the things I learned early on. Maybe one day we'll go into the story of how I came into photography, but there was resistance. couldn't get info from anyone. And back in the early 2000s, or the late 2000s, like 06, 7, 8, 9, YouTube wasn't what it is, you know, and the level of resistance from local individuals, it felt like competition. So that's something that I really want to take moving forward for the rest of this year and for the rest of my career is how many people can I help? It's time to start. Yeah, okay, we're self-taught. We take courses. We're into mentorships. It's time to start teaching people. Like, let me grab a few knuckleheads who think they know what they're doing and say, "Hey, bro, you see the hairs on my chinny chin chin? Yeah, let me help you out, buddy, because I can help you avoid some gray hairs, you know."
Yes.
Yeah, I've always said that if I'm booked for a date and I send the client over to somebody who's going to take care of them well, who's going to do good work, and, you know, style, people might choose different styles, but take that out of the equation. Just knowing that they're in good hands, then they're going to look at, oh, these wedding photographers know what they're doing. You know, there's been a lot of folks in our industry and all, you know, different types of vendors who maybe have not done well to the clients, and that hurts us all.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I really, if I'm booked, I want them to get
A good experience.
Yes. Yeah. And
You know, that's another thing too. Speaking of the whole rising tides raise all ships, and let's all work together as much as possible and impacting the people around you. That goes into the whole hybrid thing, because as a photographer, okay, you see the world one way. You see vendors one way. You see working with the DJ one way, and you experience them based on the role you're playing. Okay. As a videographer, I have a different dynamic with the DJ. I need the DJ's help right now more than the photographer did. I need a line out.
Yeah.
I need a bigger heads up before you're going to cue off any speeches. I want to be the DJ's friend, you know? So that's just a little bit more than what a photographer is going to need. And then on the flip side of that as well, a photographer moving through the wedding day is not going to be, it's not top of mind what the videographer needs, which is another reason why it's so important to work with individuals that you are comfortable with and have already worked with in the past, because they know your flow.
Yeah.
And they will be open to potentially trying something else that you might want to work on. So here's a key scenario. We're in the ceremony. There's one aisle and there's one kiss shot and there's a photographer and a second photographer and a third photographer sometimes. There's just little old me on video. So for that job, if I'm working only video, and I'll get to the hybrid thing in a second, but if I'm working only video, I have 3 perspectives and 3 people who think and feel, and rightfully so, that what they're doing is the most important thing. Wow. They should approach the day that way. I'm not saying don't. But the couple hired me for that center kiss shot as well. Yeah. In fact, I need to have a tripod in the center aisle for the whole wedding because they hired me for a longer edit.
Yeah. You need the wide shot.
Dude, what am I supposed to do? If photog 1, photog 2, and photog 3.
There's only so many angles and a lot of camera lenses.
Oh, and then let's sprinkle on the ceremony rules where don't pass pew number 6 and don't go in that corner and blah. Okay, so in those scenarios, let's talk about the ideal setting. I'm working with Steve. Steve knows video. He knows
now.
Yeah, but we've had talks, right?
Oh, we've had talks. When we started hybrid, or I started, I was like, I would call him, and I would say, I don't know, because I'm so committed. I don't want to just do good work. Yeah. I want to do great work for my photos, and then I don't want to be this junk, crap, mediocre videographer or pretend videographer, because hybrid coverage is not quite the same thing. And I want that to be good too. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can do it. And then he was telling me, hey, your shutter speeds, your exposure settings, all of that stuff. You can do that, visuals. And so he kind of gave me that push to do it. And it's kind of funny because when we work together, when he does the video for Region Weddings, I get the files, and we did one recently, and I got it. And I saw myself walking in
his shot.
Camera, and
this
I was
is years
like,
later. This is years later.
I'm
Here
like,
we are.
what am I doing?
Let it be documented.
I knew that camera was there on the tripod, but I kept walking in. It wasn't a big deal because the client didn't get ceremony only.
Yeah.
But this Saturday, they want the entire ceremony done.
Yes.
This particular client.
So we're going to do a different.
You're going to shoot it a little differently
So
that you don't walk in each other's shots.
And this is exactly.
knucklehead.
This is exactly.
not walk in
you're not a
front.
knucklehead.
But you never would have seen that footage, had you not been working together. You would have saw
Right.
him cutting you out of all those shots.
And that's where I'm going.
Right.
That's where I want to get right to. So we want to hit that end point there. I'm almost there. So basically, with Steve working together, there's going to be things you don't know, and you can only find out by having those conversations and being open to that stuff. So in that scenario where there's 1, 2, and 3 photographers and there's one videographer, but you still have to deliver for your client, those conversations can be uncomfortable on the day of the wedding.
Absolutely.
So working with someone like with the experience that we have, how are we going to approach that? Well, for this weekend, we're going to say, hey, what's the plan? I got to have this. We need that. Let's strategize. And also know that if you do walk in, we can cut to something else. But if you walk in 72 times during the ceremony,
that's a problem.
I'm in trouble.
That's a real problem.
I'm in trouble, yeah.
Right.
So there's things. And then to the final end point is impacting the community around us. I would suggest for any photographer watching this or any videographer watching this, I would say shadow the opposite side.
Yeah.
Just take
Just
half
like
a day.
Mike's doing.
Take half a day. Humble yourself. Take your 10 years, take your 15 years, take your 5 years, whatever years you have. Take it, shove it out the back, just shove it somewhere. Humble yourself and go shadow. If you're a videographer, shadow a photographer. If you're a photographer, shadow a videographer. And find out what their needs are and how much you are making them struggle. And it's actually going to make you, number one, a better shooter. Number two, it is going to make you be loved.
Yeah.
So when I work with a photo team and I'm the video guy, like photographer 1, 2, and 3, which happened to me recently, I knew exactly what to tell them. Hey guys, I know you need this. I know you need this. I know you need this. I need one thing.
Yeah.
How can you help me get that? Because that's contractually what I'm here to deliver on. Yeah.
What about DJs? Because I know when I first started doing this, I made a lot of mistakes, and I'd be like, "All right, we're ready to start introductions," and then I didn't prep the teams, didn't prep the photo, the video.
Dude, were you that guy?
Early on, yeah, not anymore.
Let it be documented.
Now I'm the guy. I'm like, okay, I already met with you. We say we're going to start. You're not. I'm waiting for you to set up. Where's your, that kind of.
Yeah.
But how do we DJs work with photo video better? And what are the ways that it's close proximity work, and you want to get good work out of everybody, but without stepping on each other's toes. Sometimes literally.
I got a hot take. Oh man, I don't know if we should. I'll screw it.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You guys can edit it out if you want to, but I got a hot take for a DJ. Okay. DJs, by the way, I love you guys. You guys make or break the night. You can make an awesome wedding horrible, or you can make a horrible wedding situation become great and fix it and get us through that whole dip. So the thing that stresses me out the most with a DJ is when you just said it, but all right, forget it. I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
Here we go. DJs have the itinerary of what's happening from the intros forward. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're in control, and I want you to have that control. But please do the photographers and the videographers a favor of stop running through every line item on the itinerary. I don't need to know every single thing on the itinerary.
Oh.
I only need to know what's happening for the intros right now? What did they tell you that they did not tell me? Because right now I'm going to go set up audio. I'm going to set up 2 tripods. I'm going to get my hand cam going, my handheld camera going. And I need to make sure that the groom is mic'd. I need to make sure that this person's mic'd. I need to make sure stuff is happening, but you are going through the whole night's agenda.
Wow.
And I only have about 7 minutes left.
Oh my gosh. You don't need all the extra stuff. Yeah.
So what I would say is, in an ideal setting, for a DJ, I would say, hey, I need to set up audio right now. I'm going to bug you for a line out in about 5 minutes. Is there anything happening immediately right now that I need to know of so that I can get ready for it? And if the answer is no, say no. And then let me go. Let me go. Because out of respect, I'm not going to tell you that on the spot. I'm not going to say, hey, shut up, I have to go. I'm going to be as kind as possible because I want us to work together and I want good results. But you also just ate 7 minutes out of my available 10. So there we go, man. That's my hot take. I'm pretty sure all the DJs are gonna hate me now.
No, I don't think so. That's valid, and we don't always know what's relevant and when you need that information. And so I like to sync up schedules. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm like, let me get your card, and I always tag us. We'll share your stuff. We'll follow you. What do you need from us? What time are you out of here by? So we get everything done before you have to leave. It's what's as much as it's in my power, right?
Facts.
And then I'm like, okay, intros, there could be 2 ways they're coming in. Let me confirm what doors they're coming in so you are set up before when they come in. And then I usually will go over, they're going to come in, they're going to cut cake, then it's speeches, then dinner, then there's a break. I try to just boom, 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 rattle it off. Here's where you plug in for a line out. I can test it real quick, make sure it's working.
That's good.
You know, I do that kind of thing. I usually will even check, make sure they've pressed record. I've had a lot of video people plug it in, then they fail to hit record. I was like, ugh. And a lot of them, they don't have the cables. They don't have the lead cables. What do you mean XLR? I was like, yeah. Or TPS or RCA or whatever. Yeah, they don't even know what we're talking about. So
and then all of this talk that we're having right now about this, the way it applies to a client is, this is what I would get out there to them. This is why you hire pros to do these various jobs, because the client doesn't need to know any of what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's technical stuff, but it's important.
Yeah, it's important, and it's all just happening while they just enjoy their night.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes clients forget that, like, the DJ isn't just somebody playing music, that they are there working this behind the scenes with folks like us, the video team, the photography team, the technical stuff. I always joke about how I've had to introduce people because I've had
DJs who were like, we don't do it. Yeah.
who just unwittingly, these were great clients. I'll never forget this one. They were just like, they went to downtown Chicago and they were in a club and they had a great time. And they approached a DJ and said, you have to do my wedding. And that DJ does not really do that, but they took the job. And then when I showed up for the wedding, I was like, hey, when are we going to do the intro and this and this and that? And the guy was like, I don't talk on a mic. I just play music. And it was just like, he was just,
It's an MC is a different talent.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't even just flat expect that from everyone. Like, I have a background so Steve and I both have backgrounds in music. So he's a guitarist. I play drums. I pretend like I could sing, but please don't ask me to do that. Anyways, and then I got into weddings that way from the music industry. And then that led to being a DJ. So I also have a very strong background in the wedding MC DJ world. And then that led to photography, and that's a whole nother story. So having all those frames of reference to guide your perspective, working in all of those, it's imperative that in every situation, the bride and groom never experience the chaos of behind the scenes. And I think that's a huge distinction between someone who just got started is now taking it serious. They now have their contracts. They are really taking it serious. But they don't have those other angles. And that's why I think it's super important to get with the seasoned people in the industry and humble yourself to just say, hey, I'm going into this. what can you give me? What are some tips? Something. Reach out to the elders of your industry, because wow, there's so many nightmare scenarios we can help you avoid.
Yeah. You said the word tips. I came with tips today.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Let's go.
I love this.
Let's
I love
go.
this.
Wait, are these going to be hot takes?
Hot take?
I don't want to be the only one that did it.
I don't know. Let me bring up Notes app here. This is something that happened a few weeks back. And since we have millions of Amplified Events DJ Insider podcast listeners,
we do.
This is going to blow the lid off the. I want to talk about the ceremony. It's human nature. I am speaking right now, and as I look around the room, you guys are looking at me. It's human nature, and so it happens at weddings a lot where they have an officiant. And unless you have Reverend Doug's like, no, look at each other. Yes. I'm just going to blab on and you guys look at each other. And I love that about him, right? But sometimes people bring their own officiant or whoever, a pastor from their church who doesn't do a lot of weddings, or just a friend who got ordained on the internet, or whatever the case may be. And that's fine. And I know it's difficult for clients to remember, but when they're there and they just turn towards the person looking, they are essentially turning their backs to their audience, their congregation, their invited guest, and their photo and video team. Yeah. And I did a wedding recently where I really struggled to get their faces in at the ceremony. The officiant was great. He did a great job, and he had lovely things to say, but they were paragraphs worth, and they were turned towards him almost the entire ceremony.
A lot of back shots.
Yeah, so I climbed over some bushes on the side, at least try to get, but I couldn't get their faces together as much as I would have liked to. So there's a hot tip right there.
Turn and face your audience.
Yeah, yes. I have these on an article on my website, and I think I'm going to update that and send it out to people more. That's one thing I noticed. Let me see.
Got a tip.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a tip. This one's for the bride and the groom, working with a strong wedding coordinator or a strong wedding planner. Because I don't see this so much with couples who are working with a newer wedding planner or a newer wedding coordinator. But I've recently seen it a couple times. And the last one was the toughest. Definitely never sharing that story publicly. Steve knows the story, but we were in Chicago. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so here's what needs to be shared. If the goal of the bride and groom is to never be talked to by any of the vendors, this proposes such a huge wall for individuals like us, photo, video, and I would even say the DJ.
Yeah.
We're trying to do a custom experience. We're trying to use the experiential moments to mold and shape the product we're delivering. Okay, so in this wedding that will forever be known as the wedding. At the wedding, I could not talk to the bride. I was not supposed to talk to the groom. Fortunately, the groom did talk to me, and it was the other photographers there, amazing photographers, that informed me as I approached the bride, whoa. Nobody talks to her. We have to go through the wedding planner. Well, I pushed because we were in a pinch, and the company I was shooting for, contractually, I needed to deliver a certain caliber of videography that day. And I broke that rule that I was told, and I approached the bride because in the contract she wanted video of the couple at sunset looking out over a balcony. Okay, they didn't ask for much, but that was in there. So I went up to her. when no one was around, I started walking towards her, and the bride put the finger up towards me, stopped me as I was walking, turned her head, and kept walking away. And that punched me in the gut so hard. And then a lot of thoughts ran through my head to where I started thinking, what am I doing? Why am I working for anyone like this? And if that bride resonates with that, if that bride wants that kind of couple, if that bride wants that kind of interaction with their wedding planner, I would say it just really has to be clearly communicated about every position, every play point of the wedding day, so that you can have that. Because what that does is, if you're hiring custom shooters, what that does is it kind of cripples what they're going to be able to deliver to you.
Absolutely.
You are hindering what you're trying to hire them for. So I don't know if there's a nicer way to say all that, but if that resonates with the couple and you're looking for that, that's going to be tough for you. That's going to be real tough. Yeah. So bravo to the wedding planner and to the wedding coordinator, the day of coordinator. Bravo to them. They did a good job of keeping us all at bay. Like, they had everyone shaking in their boots. Like, I don't even know what this bride's personality is like, other than that one interaction. Like, she could probably be a marvelous, amazing person, but I'll never know, other than she shooed me away with that one finger.
So, I wonder where that comes from.
I don't know, dude. What are your thoughts?
I have not encountered that to that extreme. I do remember you telling me the story. I would think what clients or potential, or people who are planning their wedding can take away from that story is basically that you're not necessarily hiring a friend for life, when you're hiring a vendor, but personality matters in your wedding. If you're a guarded person, or maybe you have a job that prevents you from, it makes you guarded. That's what we kind of suspected, that maybe this particular bride, I didn't work this wedding, but from hearing it from him, that perhaps the job was such that it was one that needed a lot of privacy. I would think just communicate that. I have had clients I've photographed politicians and things of that nature, where they've said, hey, this is a situation. I had an actor once. He was from out of state. They were from Colorado, but the wedding was out here, and they just kind of communicated to me that, they didn't want to be, they didn't want that brought up online. They didn't want that being used for my business, which I really wouldn't do anyway.
Sure.
So I would just say maybe that client, that bride, was in that position, and I think it could have been resolved by just saying, this is my situation. Can you work with me on this? I don't want to be exploited because of my job or my situation or whatever. And in
that regard, though, the caliber of photographer that they hired was amazing, and they are known for doing custom work. And then the videography side, I was shooting for another company. That company is known for a very specific type of video production, and I couldn't do any of that. Literally, honestly, they shouldn't even have hired me. It was insane.
Yeah, so I guess the takeaway is know your vendors.
Yeah.
And
we're not just pushing buttons.
Yeah, you're hired to do a job, and we need to be able to do that job.
And I can even go as far as saying for the DJ too. Like, I know, coming from a DJ background, I know that I can get through a wedding without any involvement with the bride and groom, because we've already done so much work on the front end. I call it the homework. So you do all the work beforehand, and then you could just get through the day as long as nothing changes, right? We're fine for the most part, but we still have to line you up for the introductions. We still have some interactions. Okay, fine. I'm saying we like I still DJ. I mean DJs, right? So, but if you suddenly have to play Chinese telephone, what is that doing to the timeline? We're still trying to keep things moving. So
that just says that those about pages on the website, whether it's Amplified Events or Region Weddings or TimeShots, means something. They're there for a reason. You don't have to follow your photographer and know their favorite sandwich, chicken sandwich, by the way, with lettuce, tomato, mayo, right here. But if you can't relate to that, that's fine. But get to know them a little bit and know what type of company they are, that they are personable and, so you know what you're getting, and in that case, it kind of sounds like the company that you were working for, they hired just based on, hey, they do a job.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, and it definitely didn't feel good. But I got one more tip that was awesome. This one's on the positive side of things, man. We got to get out of the negative slums here, but this tip was fun, or this tip is fun. It's breaking the traditions. Like, I love, when I say love, I don't even know how many L's I could put on love. The fact that we're seeing a trend in no garter removals.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Same.
Hallelujah. Thank you for whoever had the guts to push on with that one. The bouquet toss, I'm still seeing it, but not as much. But the garter removal has always been this cringy point for me where I didn't even want to shoot it. Yeah. And every time it was eccentric, I just felt like, oh my God, what are their parents thinking? Oh my God, what's going on here? So love the fact that's trending, and I'm hoping to God there'll be a point where it's completely eliminated forever.
There was a cool little trend I saw this year. Instead of garter tosses, and we did this wedding together, it was a tie toss.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, where the groom took his tie off and threw it out to the crowd, and somebody caught it. And of course, when people catch these things, they immediately get married within 6 months.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's like everybody knows that. Why'd you even say that? Duh.
Right.
Do you guys have a specific philosophy or like kind of set of values that kind of guides your work when you're working on these weddings?
Oh snap, we're getting deep here. Okay. Whew.
I'm just flying off the top of my head here. Values. I try to be as real and as personable as possible, so, meet with me, and the person you meet with is who you're going to get at the wedding. I don't know, philosophy, kind of what are you looking for there, Mike? You looking for just how we approach the day? Or?
Yeah, that, or yeah, if you have, for me, I try, definitely I want to meet with my couples. I want them to get to know them because I'm going to be making decisions on the fly at the wedding. That I want that to be in their best interest, and I want them to trust me to make those decisions. And so I want to get to know them as best I can, and I need information from them. The couples who don't meet with me and who don't give me information, those weddings are very difficult to perform at. We had a bride recently who refused to meet with us before the wedding. We reached out multiple times. We texted, we called, we emailed, refused to meet. We have a planning app that they can get on, and they can give us all the music and time. They can potentially fill that out and never meet with us. This bride also didn't fill that out. And then the day of the wedding gave us completely new set of music. And so the DJ was scrambling to get that music. She didn't give enough music for dinner, and so the list repeated, and she got upset with us that it repeated. I was like, you didn't give us enough music. She was upset that we had played the songs that she gave us months prior and didn't stick exactly to the new list, and we didn't have all that. We had to download and purchase that on the fly. It created a very difficult situation, and she was very unhappy after the wedding. But I'm like, you never met with us. You didn't give us any information. You didn't fill out our forms. Like, how could we possibly perform satisfactory in that situation?
I have one that's unusual. On my website, everyone's going to have a little bit of style, as far as in photography and in video aspect as well. But I also have beautiful, modern, candid, and then efficient. Efficiency is a word you don't often see. Yeah. And what I tell clients I mean by that is that my promise to them is by the time I deliver them over to you, Mike, for the reception, I'm going to get all of their things done. Their family photos. I mean, obviously they want to go for a sunset shot or blue hour or whatever. We'll do that. But I'm going to get everything done. So those family photos can get chaotic. I know how to do that and get it done, and get it done quickly and efficiently. That's an overlooked trait, I think, that people don't realize when they're looking for a photographer who's there throughout the day. I'm not their wedding planner, but, getting things done to where the clients can look back and say, wow, we had great pictures for our wedding, but I also remember the day vividly, and it's not always my lens, right? That it wasn't, an all day long photo shoot, but yet there's tons of photographs. That's a fine line to walk around. So that's my little humble brag on my website as far as philosophy, that I promise them that I'm gonna get that done for them.
Efficiency, professionalism, that's huge. I had a wedding recently where the photographer was late to everything. Kept the couple longer, kept the bridal party longer, late to the ceremony, late to cocktail hour, like introductions, late to first dances, and then took them for sunset, about an hour. For the first hour of the dance floor open, had the bridal party, had the bride and groom gone, late. And it just ate up the whole day. It ate up the dance floor. It killed the energy, the fun of the wedding, in my opinion. It drastically affected the outcome of what I was able to do with that wedding, because they just could not manage the time efficiently or communicate to the couple, hey, we got to get back. And I'm okay if a couple's like, yeah, all we care about is the photos, we don't really care about the music, then I know going in that I'm just here kind of for background.
Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, but if they want any kind of a party or dance floor, the more time they're spent taking photos or video, the less time they're going to have for dancing, if they're working with someone who is unprofessional, in my opinion, and not efficient with their time. Now, there's a lot of factors that are out of that photographer's control, but there was definitely things that they could have done. So I don't know, that's always a frustrating balance, that you have to set those boundaries.
And we don't know the context of what might have happened. Like, for example, that reminds me of I could probably tell this story in 15 seconds. The wedding, it seemed like everything was happening behind schedule. And I was just getting so much resistance from the wedding party. And I'm going to pat myself on the back here, but I think I'm pretty proficient in wrangling a wedding party. 20 individuals with lots of energy and alcohol going. I'm pretty okay with that. I can rock and roll with you. Okay,
that's the job. Right?
That's the job right there. So having said that, on this particular wedding, and it was a Greek wedding, huge. Okay, this is a monster of a wedding, and just little old me, zero fear, because I do this all the time. It's fine. But OMG, was it a struggle on this one? So the bride and groom want a specific something. Sun is setting, and we're getting clouds peeking in and peeking out. Okay, we need to get this shot right now. But the DJ already lined everybody up for intros, and the day is already running a little bit behind schedule. So what do? You're the photographer. You have the couple with you. The wedding party took way too long to get the shots that the bride and groom wanted with them, the fun stuff. We got them all, but now we need to practically walk inside, and I'm shooting hybrid. So I'm getting photo and video. So I need to set up that tripod. I need a line out from the DJ. And we're behind schedule. Do I sorry, bride and groom, this is a shit show. I'm going to go set up for the next stage so that I don't look like a fool and a moron and delay things. Or do I say, I'm just going to look like the bad guy right now, and I'm going to give you what you hired me for, and I'm just going to have to take this stab here and bleed. Yeah. So I walked in to a wedding reception area, probably maybe 300 to 400 strong, maybe 5, honestly. I don't even know what it was. I only looked at one side of the room because I was just trying to walk straight and carry my tripod, carry my bag, and walk in. The DJ's looking at me, making a big scene, throwing his arms up, flailing them, and this is embarrassing because this is not my first rodeo. Like, I'm coming up on 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm in this predicament.
I look unprofessional, although it's not my fault.
And I did not do this. All right, fine. So did the job, get it done. It's over. But in those scenarios where there's nothing else you can do, it comes right back to what we were saying earlier, where it really matters who you're working with. Because had that DJ known anything about me, or I research everyone that I'm going to work with, I reach out to them and I try to introduce myself to make sure that I'm just trying to limit the resistance points, you know? So, like for you, if I'm working with you, I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to introduce myself, because I know that I'm going to need a huge favor when it comes time to pinch mode and I'm running out of minutes. And anyway, so long story short, for that wedding, we got it done, but the DJ putting on the show, and then he made a comment afterwards, well, things are running behind because the photographer got here late. And it's like, wow.
He said that on the mic?
Oh, yeah.
I would never do that.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible. So when we come to philosophies...
That's unprofessional, in my opinion.
Hard.
Putting them on blast on the mic.
When we come to philosophies, my first philosophy, and it ties into that, is I want to just be me. I don't want to show up to your wedding and fake the funk, do the dog and pony show, so that, you know, I'm older now, I'm 43, and I'm trying to be as real and true to who I am as an individual, and I want to be this person online, in real time, in real life, in front of you, and I want this package that I'm bringing to your wedding to be positive choice for you. Okay, so what I do when it comes to the weddings is I look for the red flags. I look for, is there any sign in this meeting with the couple, the first meeting, when we're doing like a discovery call type thing, I'm looking for on the Zoom call, or if it's in person, I'm looking for, where am I going to be a bad match for them? Are we laughing together? Are we having an exchange of personalities and it's flowing back and forth well? Do I feel like I'm being pushed into performance mode? Do I feel like I can't disagree? What is I'm tuned into me as much as I'm tuned into them, because I know that my personality is what's going to impact how we're getting the photos with them. And that's not every photographer.
Yeah.
Some photographers are fly on the wall and it's a part of their look, you know, it's a part of their aesthetic, it's a part of how they approach things. But my philosophy is I come into a wedding with a lot of energy and then I turn it off and then I turn it on. So can you vibe with that? Am I annoying you already? Oh shoot, I'm annoying them. All right, let me refer them to someone else. let me bail here. I have 4 guys that I'm going to refer you to that are not like me, you know. So those are kind of one of my biggest philosophies is, can I be true to myself in every setting? Yeah.
I love that. Early on when I was DJing, I was like, whatever you need. But now I'm like, here's what I do. And does that gel with who you are, with what you want? Is that the kind of experience you want? Couples all the time are like, we want a club atmosphere. We want you to get out there and dance with grandma. I was like, that's not what we do. We're not performers. We're there to throw you a great party.
I want to see you dance with grandma.
Not
I want to see you dance with
grandma.
grandma.
I will
too,
dance with
dude.
grandma if she invites me. But yeah, no.
I want to see the stanky leg.
That's
I want to
it.
see the soldier boy.
But there are DJs who it's like, it's my show and I'm going to perform. That's just not who we are as a company. And I try to not hire DJs who are going to try to steal the show, steal the attention. And also, I want people who are easy to work with. I don't want somebody who's just going to be constantly, you know, poking at me, snapping in my face, forcing me to do this, now do this, now do this. You know, that's not a fun way to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I tell my clients is that some wedding couples will give me 40 minutes for their photos. Others will give me 4.
Yeah.
Right? I got to get it done either way, and I will. You know, so that's part of the efficiency. Now, I don't really need 40, and I prefer not to only have 4, so maybe we can meet in the middle. But I figure by giving that ahead of time, it kind of puts them in that zone of, because a lot of clients don't understand how long things take, you know.
Yeah.
And it does depend, you know, if you have a large wedding party and you want individuals, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you're going to have different locations, things like that. So that's part of the pre-wedding meeting. You know, you just can't show up on the wedding day and just wing it, you know. You got to talk beforehand, and that's why I kind of, you know, push that for my clients. And I know it's a pain for them. They had a lot going on a few weeks before the wedding, but I'm like, we got to at least get on a phone call here and make sure. You know, I've had clients show up. Sometimes they'll book me a year, 2 years out, and I think I'm going to one venue, and I find out that's changed, which is fine, but you kind of need to know that.
It's kind of important.
No,
You're showing up
they
at the
don't
right
have
location.
to tell you that.
Yeah, but it's amazing, like
They switch it up and don't tell you.
I've sat with people and they're like, "Oh, we thought we sent you an email on the no."
Yeah.
I understand they're busy, they're doing their thing, so yeah, for 40 minutes or 4 minutes, it's our job. We get it done no matter what.
You know, I got another tip for DJs because I have a soft spot in my life, in my heart for DJs because I used to DJ. It's how I pretty much got into this whole business. And one of the things that I love that DJs do is and we talked about it earlier a little bit, but when they are literally not making it obvious that they're waiting for me. And I hate that that's the scenario, but everyone in that moment for the speeches is ready before the videographer. If the videographer is already plugged in, if the videographer is already, tripods are set and the venue layout is such to where that doesn't have to get taken away, then yeah, we can rock and roll and it's smooth. But there's certain venues where I can't leave that tripod there.
Yeah.
It's just an eyesore, and they spent so much time and money into the decor and the look and the theme of the night. No, I don't want my tripod in every photograph that they're taking of, behind what's behind the cake and stuff or what's in front of the cake. And so what I love is when the DJ is just smooth. They just give me the side eye, like, you good? Okay, bro, let's go.
I was you thumbs up, everyone
like that,
ready?
or they'll point to the microphone to tell me, hey, because we put the backup mic, the recorder on the microphone. They'll point to it like, is it on? Oh my God, those are the DJs that I feel like, man, if I get a tip tonight, I'm giving it to you, bro. I'm giving it to
We'll
you,
take it.
man.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about flowers.
Okay.
Uh-oh. You said
Flowers.
that. You said that scary, man.
I don't know anything about these things. I know they have color. I know they grow somehow, and but you don't want me taking care of your flowers. I photograph them. Okay, but here, seriously, this is what I want to mention about flowers. Here's a hot tip, just a quick one. They get delivered almost always to the bride. But if the groom is 2 towns away, and my second photographer is going to do photographs of the groom and the groomsmen, my hot tip is let's have somebody drive these, the men's flowers, the boutonnieres over to these guys, because these guys have no clue. I am one step above the groomsmen. I admit, I know they're probably supposed to wear flowers. Well, once in a while, we'll ask them, hey guys, you got your flowers? And they're like, no, we're not doing that. And I'll have my second photographer do all these portraits of these guys and find out later, they do have flowers. They just didn't realize it, and they're with the bride, and we're going to redo these photos, which we will do. But there's a hot tip. Yeah, make sure your groomsmen get their flowers.
You have somebody who knows how to put them on. Those things are difficult.
Hey, have you guys seen the two
Don't
that
bloody the groom.
The two, yeah, don't bloody the groom. That's
Another hot
story.
tip.
Another story.
Like 5 holes in the suit.
What are they called? The boutonnieres. So that flower, the boutonniere, there is one that I saw that's a magnet.
Yes.
Those are cool.
Genius.
So that I don't know
Easy,
why
just
we didn't think of
snap
that sooner.
and click, yeah.
And then the second one I thought was really cool is it's attached to a thick card stock that slides in the pocket. So this flower just sits perfectly where it needs to be.
It never moves.
Doesn't fall. I don't know how it's attached to the card, whatever, that's beyond me. But the point is, check out the magnet boutonniere. Check out the, whatever you want to call that. What can we call that? Slides into the pocket. I don't know. The boutonniere attached to the card stock thing for the groom.
Yeah, works for me.
Do you have any advice? Couples look into book, photographer, videographer, things they should look for, things they should avoid. And then if they've already booked a photographer, videographer, how do they make the most out of that experience?
Okay, you're opening up a huge can. Are we going to be... All right. I got one. Dang, you really came prepared for this, bro. I feel like you did research and you're probably... Googling the heck. Are you just pulling these questions off the top of your head?
Some of them I repeat. I do from week to week, but I have thought quite a bit about the questions. But it just depends.
Okay, so let's say you already have your photographer and contract signed, reservation fees paid. You're 50% committed financially. Probably not. You're probably not going to reel out of that contract. Okay, fine. If that's your scenario and a couple finds themselves thinking, maybe we got the wrong photographer, maybe we got the wrong videographer, the first thing I would say is, do not feel like you have to itemize a shot list. Let's pause there and assess, what is the photographer's experience? Do they have anything that they can show you as proof that they're going to get the shots that you are thinking you need to ask them for? For example, sometimes I'll get a scenario where a bride and groom, a couple, is working with a wedding planner, and the wedding planner's experience has been working with really new, rough around the edges photographers. So the wedding coordinator, the wedding planner, in good faith and with good intentions, will tell the bride, we need to give this shot list to the photographer because they don't know what the hell they're doing ever. So then we get shots like bride walking down the aisle. So I'll have 102 shots that I now need to review and spend time on because this is what they found from the wedding planner, wedding coordinator, or they found something on Google or Pinterest.
It, yeah.
And it says bride's dress, bride's shoes, first kiss. And so now I'm spending time, because I'm going to go through that list regardless of whatever I think or feel. I still have to go through the list and find, is there any outlier in here that isn't going to naturally happen? Is there anything in here that I actually need to
DJ dances with grandma.
Yeah,
Yes.
DJ dances with
That's
grandma.
on there.
No,
We're going to need to know that ahead of time.
No. For the DJ, their list would be like this: plays music.
Right.
Dude, yes, yeah. Or announce cake cutting, announce introductions, yeah.
So what I would say to wrap that little tip up is, slow your roll. Hold on, mama. Hold on. Let's assess really what is the experience and the capability of your photographer or your videographer. Why did you hire them in the first place? Was it just because the price was right, or did you see work that you initially trusted? All right, so if the answer is no, they don't have the work, then I would say most of the stuff is going to happen because the day is unfolding.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about how the day flows. Think about things that you are going to want that are not going to happen in the natural progression of the day. For example, sometimes the brides will pin a piece of material to the bottom of their dress, and maybe it has some kind of emotional value to them, someone who's passed on, and they'll sew that in. There's no way in the world for us to know that. You probably should share that with your photographer.
Yeah, give them a heads up.
And then the last part of that would be those formal photos. Share that list with them by name. And then let's assign a keeper of the list, someone with a strong personality, someone who's okay corralling people, and say, Aunt Sarah, you're going to be in one photograph, but you have a strong type A personality. You are now the keeper of the list. Can you please help us? So the photographer's working with the formal group. There's 15 people in this group. We get that shot, and while we're posing and orchestrating this whole shot, we spend 3 minutes on that. Aunt Sarah already knows Sally, John, and Jose, don't move. You're in the next one. The rest of you guys get out. This group's coming in. Sally already organized that, or Aunt Sarah already organized that for you. So I would say, slow down. It's going to be okay. You can get through this if you're stuck contractually. And if you're not stuck contractually, hallelujah for you. Find yourself a seasoned pro.
Dude, one of my pet peeves is people like when we do unnecessary announcement. All right, can we get all women from Fort North out there? Can we get all,
Yeah.
we need all the Smith family, and immediate,
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one. The DJ helped us
constantly
out.
announcing stuff.
Dude, we had a DJ. I was working in downtown Chicago, and I don't know the name of the venue, but the venue was so massive that everything was just echoing crazy. And it's like one of those abandoned
Warehouse kind of
and they
things.
converted it. All right, so the DJ grabbed the microphone and became the keeper of the list because the person who was supposed to do it just was shy and didn't want to do it. It was like the wrong person for that. So I could have did it myself, no problem. But yeah, DJs can really save the evening. They can really help. And it was one of those weddings where everything was at one spot.
Yeah.
You know, the ceremony's here, then they flip the room, stuff like that. So
Yeah, and as they're flipping the room, they're trying to get all the portrait photos.
chaos is
and I got to announce all this stuff, even though everyone's getting drinks at cocktail and I'm playing music. And,
I'm going to piggyback a little bit on the family groups and what you mentioned about the DJ having an announce and things like that. That's why it's important to have a plan of when you're going to get those groups done. Work with the photographer to have a list of those groups, and don't do a lot of unnecessary groupings, you know, or a lot of repeats and things like that, because
that's a good one.
I like to get it. Bride and both sisters, bride and four sisters. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I like to get it, you know, like part of my commitment to the couple is to let them enjoy their reception. And I'm sure as a DJ, what you would hate to hear is the dancing's going and now everything's coming to a halt because the photographer is going to take 20 groups of people that didn't get done earlier out into the hallway or wherever to do these pictures.
Just kill the dance floor.
Yeah, it kills the dance floor. Those people in these photographs, they just want to have fun now, as do you, the client, you know. So it's always best to get them done beforehand. So that's part of, you know, that that philosophy that you mentioned that we talked about earlier, the efficiency thing. You know, I'm going to get those done quickly. Sometimes people aren't there for the ceremony. We will do that on occasion. Watch the next time I work with you, Mike. I'll be like, hey, Mike, can you announce these groups? But hopefully it'll just be small and it won't have to be announced because we've gotten most of it done earlier. So,
yeah, you know, you said earlier about that one photographer who stole the bride and groom for an hour during sunset. In those
and the bridal party. It was everybody.
The sunset that lasts 15 minutes and they were out there for an hour.
Yeah, we were dancing. We were doing a dance floor for family and friends. Yeah.
I just wonder what the context was for that, but that should not have happened. I can't even think of anything.
Well, some of it was the bride was pushing because she wanted a faux send off, you know? And I think some of it was the photographer, and I think it just took way too long.
It probably took way too long.
Anyway, the photographer came up and apologized at the end of the night because she could tell I was kind of miffed. I didn't say anything, but
because you're a pro.
Yeah, I was just like, it's not a big thing. But then, that's what it is.
So the reason why I brought that up was, remember you were talking about philosophies, and I have a few, but I love this phrase. Maybe it's not a philosophy, I don't know, but I love this phrase. Energy goes where the bride and groom go.
Yeah.
So if the bride and groom are just sitting at the bar or outside smoking, what's that doing to the rest of your wedding reception? Now, if you're not dancers, that's fine. But I still recommend when I speak with my couples, be present. Try not to disappear because these guests are here for you. And yeah, it's your day. You're going to do whatever you want to do and you want to enjoy it how you're going to enjoy it. And I get that. But also, it's like a little amount of respect that's required there. I think like, hey, if you can push yourself, if you're like super shy and you don't want to be the center of the attention, but you're having a wedding, maybe just try and push yourself and be present, be seen, be in the room where the other, 300 people are. Let's try for that. Maybe don't stay by the bar forever because your DJ is working his ass off. And we need a closing video shot. We need your closing photo shots. So there's a lot going on. Yeah.
Guys, this has been so much fun. I so appreciate you guys coming on. If our listeners want to check you guys out, where's the best way they can find out more about your work and connect with you? What's the best way they can do that?
RegionWeddings.com, all one word, REGION, weddings.com, everywhere, Instagram, the website, a lot of information there, and TimeShots Inc., right?
Yep, I go with, if you Google TimeShots, photo and video, you'll find my wedding website. If you Google my name, Jaime Del Rio, Jaime as in Michael, E as in Edward, Jaime Del Rio. If you Google that, you'll come across another wedding website. You'll come across some of my corporate work that I do as well. So on the socials, you'll find me. I probably should be more active on socials. I have a horrible love-hate relationship with social media. Maybe it's because
I probably just hire someone to do it because I just
I need to. I need help. Watch, that's what's going to happen from this podcast. My DMs are going to fill up with people trying to help me.
Apparently, I am a social media slut because I'm posting just about every day on Instagram. But I don't know. It's a photo website, so I actually don't mind it. I enjoy it, But I'm not one of those. I'm not on Threads and Twitter,
Yeah, same.
complaining about the world,
Yeah.
and or sharing my lunch. So
Yeah. Same here.
Well, Steve, Jaime, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Please come back, come see us again, and that's all I've got. Anything else before we close here?
I just want to say thank you. You are my first official podcast. I know I opened up with that, but I'm like super cheesy and happy to be a part of this. I was so nervous prior to, so this was fun.
Oh,
this
you're
was
great.
easy.
Thanks for doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Well, we will see
you, Mike.
Yes, we'll see you guys at your wedding. Thanks so much.